The pain started 3 days before my sister's wedding. A dull ache in my lower right abdomen that I initially dismissed as stress or bad food. By the day before the wedding, it had sharpened into something that made me catch my breath whenever I moved too quickly. "You look terrible," my sister Amanda said when I arrived at the venue for the rehearsal. She was holding a clipboard and wearing the expression of barely controlled panic that had defined her personality for the past 6 months of wedding planning. "I don't feel great," I admitted. "I think I might be coming down with something." "You cannot get sick. You're my photographer tomorrow." "About that, maybe we should have a backup plan. I could give you the names of some." "Claire, we've been over this. Professional photographers want $4,000. $4,000 for one day. Your family, you're doing this." I've been doing photography as a side hobby for years. Good enough equipment, a decent portfolio, a few paid gigs here and there. When Amanda got engaged, she had immediately volunteered my services. Not asked. Volunteered them. The family discount, she called it, which apparently meant free labor, free equipment, free expertise. "I'm serious," I said, pressing my hand against my side. "Something feels wrong." Everything feels wrong 3 days before a wedding. It's called stress. Stop being dramatic and get some rest. I need you at 100% tomorrow. That night, the pain worsened. I barely slept, alternating between chills and sweats, curled around a heating pad that did nothing to help. At 3 in the morning, I seriously considered going to the emergency room. But Amanda's wedding was in 10 hours. She'd never forgive me if I missed it. I convinced myself I could make it through one day. The morning of the wedding, I could barely stand upright. The pain had localized, sharp and insistent, making every movement feel like being stabbed. My temperature was 101.3. I knew these symptoms. I had friends with appendicitis before. This was textbook. I called Amanda at 8 in the morning. "I need to go to the hospital," I said without preamble. "What? No. Claire, the wedding is in 5 hours. "I think I have appendicitis." "You think? So you're not sure?" "I'm pretty sure. The pain is really bad." "Can you go after?" "Just get through the ceremony and reception, then go." "I'm sure it's not that serious if you've been dealing with it for days." "Amanda, appendicitis can be serious. It can rupture." "Stop being dramatic. It's my wedding day." "My day. You promised to do this. I've been planning for a year, and you're going to bail because you have a stomachache?" "It's not. Just take some ibuprofen. You'll be fine. I need you here by noon with all your equipment set up." She hung up before I could argue further. I should have gone to the hospital anyway. I should have chosen my health over her guilt trip. But family obligation is a powerful drug, and Amanda had always been good at wielding it. So I loaded my camera equipment into my car, swallowed 4 ibuprofen, and drove to the venue. The venue was a restored barn an hour outside the city. Beautiful, expensive, exactly the Pinterest-perfect wedding Amanda had been curating since she was 16. I arrived at noon and immediately started setting up. Arranging lighting equipment, checking camera settings, scouting angles, all while feeling like someone was twisting the knife in my side. "You still look terrible," Amanda's maid of honor observed. "I'm fine. You're sweating and you're pale. It's hot in here." She didn't look convinced but wandered off to deal with bridesmaid drama. I sat down on a folding chair and tried to breathe through the waves of nausea. The ceremony started at 3. I photographed every moment: the processional, the vows, the ring exchange, the kiss. 200 photos in 45 minutes, each one requiring me to crouch, stand, stretch, move, aim. My hands were shaking by the end. The pain had spread, radiating across my entire abdomen. During the cocktail hour, I found a bathroom and vomited. Wiped my face, popped 3 more ibuprofen, and went back out to photograph guests mingling. The reception was worse. 6 hours of constant movement, photographing toasts, the first dance, cake cutting, bouquet toss. Amanda kept finding me between moments. "Make sure you get photos of the centerpieces." "Did you get enough shots of me and the bridesmaids?" "The lighting looks weird in some of these. Fix it." By 9 o'clock, I was operating on autopilot. Point, shoot, move. Point, shoot, move. The pain was constant now, a screaming presence that drowned out everything else. I was dizzy, feverish, struggling to focus. At 10:15, during the final dance set, something shifted inside me. The pain exploded into something beyond what I'd been managing all day. I doubled over behind my camera, unable to straighten back up. Amanda noticed from the dance floor. She pushed through the crowd and grabbed my arm. What are you doing? People can see you. I need to go to the hospital. Now. The reception isn't over. We haven't done the sparkler exit yet. Amanda, please, something's really wrong. You've been saying that all day and you're fine. Just finish the job. 1 more hour. I don't think I have an hour. Her face hardened. You're ruining my wedding. Do you know that? This is the most important day of my life, and you're making it about you. I left my camera equipment and walked to my car, drove myself to the emergency room, hands gripping the wheel so hard my knuckles went white, tears streaming down my face from the pain. The ER doctor took one look at me and ordered an immediate CT scan. Your appendix is severely inflamed, she said 30 minutes later. Another few hours and it would have ruptured. We need to operate tonight. I was in surgery by midnight. They removed my appendix, which the surgeon later told me had been on the verge of bursting, peritonitis, sepsis, potentially death. I've been that close. Amanda called the next day, not to ask about my health, to demand her wedding photos. I need them edited and delivered within 2 weeks, she said. That's industry standard. I'm in a hospital recovering from emergency surgery. I know, Mom told me. That's fine. You have a laptop, right? You can edit from bed. I hung up on her. I delivered the photos 3 weeks later, editing them during recovery because the alternative was Amanda's angry voicemails. She complained about the quality, lighting, and angles. Never said thank you. Never apologized for forcing me to photograph her wedding while my appendix was failing. During my recovery, I had a lot of time to think about family obligation and exploitation, about what I was willing to tolerate for people who didn't reciprocate basic concern, about the fact that I'd almost died to save Amanda $4,000 and she couldn't even manage gratitude. I made decisions during those weeks on medical leave from my marketing job. I would distance myself from family who treated me like unpaid labor. I would invest in myself the way I've been investing in others. I would build something that belonged only to me. I stopped answering Amanda's calls, kept communication with my parents minimal, threw myself into my career with an intensity I previously reserved for keeping everyone else happy. The marketing agency I worked for was small but growing. I took every opportunity, volunteered for challenging projects. Within a year, I was promoted to senior strategist. A year after that, creative director. The company was acquired by a larger firm 5 years after Amanda's wedding. I moved to the acquiring company as a director. When the CMO position opened, I got it. 6 months later, the CEO stepped down and the board offered me the position. At 33, I became CEO of a 200-person marketing and brand strategy firm. 7 years after photographing my sister's wedding with a failing appendix, I was running a company worth $30 million. I didn't broadcast my success to my family, didn't update social media much, didn't attend family gatherings where I'd have to make small talk about my career. My parents knew I'd done well, but not the specifics. Amanda, as far as I knew, thought I was still in some middle management marketing role. The application crossed my desk on a Tuesday morning. I reviewed all director-level applications personally. Halfway through the stack, I saw the name. Amanda Morrison, applying for brand strategy director. Salary requirement, $85,000. I stared at the resume, 5 jobs in 7 years. Marketing coordinator, social media manager, content strategist, brand consultant. Lateral moves, short tenures, no upward trajectory. Everything okay? My HR director, Patricia, had poked her head into my office. This application. I turned the screen toward her. Amanda Morrison. What do we know about her? Patricia consulted her tablet. She interviewed with the hiring manager yesterday. Feedback was lukewarm. She has the baseline qualifications, but nothing that stands out. References were mixed. One former supervisor mentioned reliability issues. Why? She's my sister. Patricia's eyebrows rose. Oh, do you want me to remove her from consideration? Conflict of interest? No. Set up an interview with me. Don't tell her who she's interviewing with. Just say it's a final round CEO interview. Are you sure? I wasn't sure of anything except that 7 years of hard work had led to this moment. My sister, who'd exploited my labor and dismissed my medical emergency, sitting across from me asking for a job. The interview was scheduled for Thursday at 2. Amanda arrived 15 minutes early, wearing a suit that looked new and carrying a leather portfolio I recognized as expensive. She was nervous. I could see it in how she kept adjusting her necklace, crossing and uncrossing her legs in the waiting area. My assistant brought her into my office at exactly 2 o'clock. Amanda walked in with a confident smile that faltered the moment she saw me behind the desk. "Claire?" "Hello, Amanda. Have a seat." She sat slowly, confusion and something like fear crossing her face. "You're the CEO. For the past 6 months, you're applying for our brand strategy director position. I didn't know you work here. I founded this division 3 years ago for the acquisition." I gestured to her portfolio. "Walk me through your experience." She stumbled through her pitch, clearly rattled. I let her finish, made notes, asked the standard interview questions. Her answers were adequate but unimpressive. She had the skills but not the vision, the experience but not the innovation. "Tell me about a time you handled a high-pressure situation," I said. She launched into a story about managing a product launch under tight deadlines. I listened, remembering the different high-pressure situation. One where she forced her sister to work through a medical emergency because flowers and centerpieces were more important than appendicitis. "Why do you want to work here?" I asked. "Your company has an excellent reputation. I'm looking for somewhere I can grow long-term, contribute meaningfully to strategy development, work with a strong leadership team. What do you know about our leadership team?" She hesitated. "I researched the executive bios on your website." "But you didn't know your sister was the CEO. "We don't talk much." "No." I agreed, "we don't." Silence stretched between us. I could see her calculating, trying to determine if our history would help or hurt her chances. "Claire, about the wedding. 7 years ago, you forced me to photograph your wedding while I had appendicitis. I told you multiple times that I needed medical attention. You told me to stop being dramatic. I went into emergency surgery that night. My appendix was hours from rupturing. I didn't know it was that serious. You didn't care enough to find out. I was stressed. It was my wedding day. I wasn't thinking clearly. You were thinking clearly enough to demand I edit photos from my hospital bed." She looked down at her hands. "I know I was selfish back then. I'm different now." "Are you?" "Your reference from your last employer mentioned reliability issues. Left projects unfinished. Missed deadlines. That job wasn't a good fit." "None of your jobs have been good fits. You've had 5 positions in 7 years. No promotions. You're applying for a director role, but your experience is mid-level at best. So you're rejecting me because of the wedding?" "I'm rejecting you because you're not qualified for this position. The wedding is just context for why I'm not willing to overlook your mediocre qualifications the way a stranger might." "That's not fair." "You're right. It's not fair. Do you know what else isn't fair? Working for 8 hours with appendicitis because your sister values wedding photos more than your life. But we don't always get fairness." She stood up, tears in her eyes. "I need this job, Claire. I'm barely making rent. My career isn't where I thought it would be. I need a break." "Then find it somewhere else. I built this company by working through the pain you caused, by learning that the only person I could count on was myself. I'm not going to hand you a position you haven't earned out of family obligation. I've done that before. It nearly killed me." "So this is revenge?" "No. This is boundaries. This is me choosing competence over family guilt. This is me remembering that stop being dramatic really meant stop inconveniencing me with your medical emergency." Amanda left without another word. I sat in my office for a long time afterward, staring at her rejected application on my screen. Patricia came by an hour later. "How did it go?" "I rejected her. She's not qualified." "And the personal history?" "Made it easier to be objective. I'm not interested in giving second chances to people who wouldn't have called an ambulance if I collapsed at their wedding." Patricia nodded slowly. "For what it's worth, I think you made the right call. We need team members who show up for each other. She doesn't have that track record." I hired someone else for the position the following week. A candidate with a stronger portfolio, better references, and the kind of innovative thinking we needed. Someone who'd never forced their sister to work through appendicitis. Amanda sent one email after the interview saying I'd changed, become cold. I didn't respond. Because I hadn't forgotten what family meant. I'd learned what it didn't mean. It didn't mean free labor. It didn't mean dismissing medical emergencies. It didn't mean owing people positions they hadn't earned. I built this company photo by photo, decision by decision, boundary by boundary. Built it into something where people's health mattered more than convenience, where competence determined advancement, not guilt. Amanda wanted me to give her a break, but I'd learned 7 years ago, sweating through her wedding reception with a failing appendix, that the only person who'd give me a break was myself. So I gave myself this one, the right to say no, the right to maintain standards, the right to remember that when I needed help, she told me to stop being dramatic. Now she needed help, and I told her she wasn't qualified. Turns out we both learned to prioritize what matters most to us. She chose her wedding photos. I chose my boundaries, and I built a company on that foundation. Hey there, I'm Hazel. I'm 32, living in Chicago with my amazing husband, Liam, and our little firecracker, Lily. Life's pretty good, except for one major thorn in my side. My dad, Frank. Growing up with him wasn't a picnic. His outdated views always made me cringe, but I tried to keep the peace. Since marrying Liam, who's African American, though Frank's comments have shifted from annoying to downright offensive. Just last week, he came over for dinner, and I was this close to losing it. He barely greeted Liam and dove right into his usual nonsense. Hazel, honey, he started, don't you think Lily's hair would look better if you straightened it? I took a deep breath. Dad, her hair is beautiful as it is. As we ate, Frank went on about how back in my day, people stuck to their own kind. I saw Liam's jaw clench and Lily's confused face. I couldn't hold back any longer. Dad, that's enough. We've talked about this. But he kept pushing. I'm just saying, Hazel, have you thought about how hard it might be for Lily being, That was it. I put down my fork. Being what, Dad? Mixed race? Is that what you're trying to say? The room went silent. Even Lily stopped fidgeting with her food. I think it's time for you to leave, I said, standing. Until you can respect my family, all of us, you're not welcome here. Frank looked stunned, like he couldn't believe I was standing up to him. But Hazel, I'm your father. Then start acting like one, I snapped. After you left, I broke down. Liam held me while Lily asked why Grandpa was so mean. It broke my heart. Later that night, I called my mom, Linda. She divorced Frank years ago but tries to keep the peace for my sake. Oh honey, she sighed when I told her, I'm so sorry. You did the right thing. The next day at work, my best friend and coworker, Jenna, could tell something was up. Spill it, Thompson. What's wrong? I told her everything over coffee, and she was a rock for me, as always. Hazel, listen to me. You're protecting your family, and that's what matters. She was right, of course, but it didn't make things any easier. It's been a few weeks since I kicked Dad out, and every day he's left guilt-tripping voicemails about family and how I'm keeping Lily from him. Finally, I blocked his number, but Frank didn't back off. One morning, I woke up to a flood of notifications. Cousins, old friends, even my third-grade teacher were all asking what was going on. Frank had gone nuclear on Facebook, painting me as an ungrateful, family-hating monster. And worst of all, people were buying it. Aunt Karen, Dad's sister, called me. Hazel, honey, is everything okay? Your father's post has us all worried. I tried to explain, but it felt like shouting into a void. For everyone who listened, there were 2 more ready to believe his lies. It even reached work. I was in the middle of a major account when my boss pulled me into his office. Hazel, we need to talk about your personal situation. It's affecting our image. My heart sank. After all the work I put in, it was unraveling because of Dad's vendetta. Thank God for Jenna. She wouldn't let him ruin my career. Hazel, we're not letting this psycho tank your reputation, she said, helping me draft responses and damage control strategies. Just when I thought things couldn't get worse, they did. I stumbled upon a website called The Truth About Hazel Thompson. A daughter's betrayal. My hands shook as I clicked through it. Twisted stories about our family. Lies about me abandoning my heritage because I married Liam. I felt sick. I called Liam, barely getting the words out. Babe, breathe, he said, his voice calm. We'll get through this. He's not going to win. But as I stared at the screen, I wasn't so sure. How could I fight this? How could I protect my family and career from Dad's venom? I thought of Lily, about how she might find us one day. It was no longer about me. It was about protecting her from the toxicity I grew up with. I was done playing defense. It was time to fight fire with fire. I called my cousin Alex, a tech genius. "Alex, I need your help. We're taking Dad down." He was all in. We spent hours combing through Frank's online activity, documenting every lie, every manipulation. The deeper we dug, the uglier it got. But I needed more. I called Mom, hoping she might shed some light on Dad's past behavior. "Hazel, honey," she started, her voice heavy. "There's something I need to tell you. Your father, he wasn't just manipulative with family. There were financial issues too." Then she told me everything: tax evasion, shady business deals, the works. And she had proof. Old documents, bank statements, you name it. "I kept these in case he ever tried anything," she explained. "I never thought I'd need to use them against him like this." Meanwhile, Liam was working his own angle. He got in touch with his lawyer buddy, Jake. A cease and desist might work, Jake advised over speakerphone. "But you need solid evidence. Keep documenting everything." Alex and I dove back into Dad's online activity, and what we found made my stomach turn. He wasn't just manipulating family, he was running an entire investment scheme targeting elderly folks in his neighborhood, convincing them to invest their life savings. "Hazel, look at this," Alex said, pointing at his screen. "He's promising these people a 20% return. There's no way this is legit." My heart sank. How many lives had he ruined? How long had this been going on? Then I got a call from Aunt Emma, Dad's sister. Her voice was shaky. "Hazel, I don't know how to say this, but I think your father's been lying to all of us." She went on to explain that Dad had been borrowing money from various family members, telling them I was sick and needed expensive treatments. "He said you didn't want anyone to know," she continued, "that you were too proud to ask for help." I was speechless. The depth of his deception was staggering. He hadn't just tried to ruin my reputation. He used my name to scam our own family. "Aunt Emma, I'm not sick. I never have been. Dad made it all up." The silence on the other end was deafening. Then a quiet sob. "Oh, Hazel, I'm so sorry. We should have known. We should have checked with you first." After we hung up, I sat there, numb from the lies, manipulation, and sheer audacity of it all. I felt angry, betrayed, and weirdly relieved. For the first time, I had concrete proof of who my father truly was. Liam found me like that, staring into nothing, and without a word, he wrapped his arms around me. "We've got him," I finally said, my voice muffled against his chest. "We've actually got him." Liam pulled back, looking me in the eye. "What do you want to do?" I took a deep breath, and in that moment, my path was clear. No more playing nice. No more keeping the peace. It was time to expose Frank for who he really was. "I want to take him down," I said, my voice steady. "Not just for us, but for everyone he's hurt. It's time he faces the consequences of his actions." Liam nodded, a determined look in his eyes. "Then that's what we'll do. Together." I took another deep breath, my finger hovering over the post button. This was it, the moment of truth. I'd spent days crafting my statement, making sure every word was precise, every claim backed up with solid evidence. "You've got this, babe," Liam said, squeezing my shoulder. But I wasn't done yet. With Alex's help, I compiled all the evidence of Dad's financial schemes and sent an anonymous tip to the authorities. It felt strange, turning in my own father, but I kept reminding myself of all the people he'd hurt. Then, one morning, my phone exploded with notifications. Dad had been arrested for fraud and tax evasion. The story was everywhere. "Hazel, have you seen the news?" Jenna's voice was electric with excitement on the phone. "They're saying your dad could face serious jail time." It was surreal. Part of me felt guilty, but a bigger part felt relieved. The truth was finally out, and soon the apologies started rolling in. Old friends, distant relatives, all of them were reaching out, expressing regret for having believed Dad's lies. Each message felt like a mix of vindication and sadness. "I'm so sorry, Hazel. I should have known better," my cousin Tom wrote. "Your dad always had a way of twisting things." Dealing with the fallout wasn't easy. I began seeing a therapist, trying to work through the years of manipulation and emotional abuse that had marked my relationship with my father. "It's okay to feel conflicted," my therapist, Dr. Chen, assured me. "He's still your father, but you did the right thing." Through it all, Liam and Lily were my rocks. Lily might not have understood everything, but she knew when Mommy was sad. Her hugs always made things a little brighter. As the months passed, Life started to feel normal again. Then came the company gala, and with it some unexpected news. The big account I thought I'd lost was back on the table. To Hazel Thompson, my boss announced, raising a glass, who not only landed the Peterson account but showed us all what true integrity looks like. I looked around the room, seeing Liam's proud smile, Gemma's enthusiastic thumbs up, and the supportive faces of my colleagues. I felt overwhelmed with gratitude. Later that night, sitting on our couch, I scrolled through old photos on my phone and came across one of Dad and me from my college graduation. For a moment, I hesitated, memories flooding back. But then, with a steady breath, I hit delete. "You okay?" Liam asked, joining me on the couch. I nodded, surprised by how much I meant it. "Yeah, I really am." As I set my phone aside, a realization dawned on me. This ordeal with Dad, it wasn't just about standing up for myself. It was about breaking a cycle, making sure that Lily grows up in a home filled with love, respect, and honesty, not manipulation and lies. I glanced over at Lily playing on the carpet, her toothy grin meeting my gaze. In that moment, I knew that everything I'd been through, every hard decision, was worth it. For her. For us. "What are you thinking about?" Liam asked, his eyes following mine to Lily. I leaned into him, feeling at peace for the first time in months. "The future," I said softly. "Our future." The story of Hazel Thompson's journey has come to an end. Now I have a question for you. If you were in Hazel's position, would you have exposed your father's illegal activities to the authorities, knowing it could lead to his arrest? Or would you have tried to handle the situation privately within the family? It's a tough moral dilemma. On one hand, Frank's actions hurt many people beyond just Hazel. On the other, he's still family. What would you do? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'm Olivia, 24, and knee-deep in my computer science master's at this prestigious university, juggling a part-time gig at a tech startup. Sounds impressive, right? Well, it would be, if I weren't dealing with my personal nightmare at home. Karen, my stepmom from hell. It's 2 a.m., and I'm in the zone, finalizing my thesis when Karen barrels into my room. "Olivia, what are you doing up at this ungodly hour? Turn off that computer and go to bed." I clench my jaw, trying to keep cool. "Karen, I've told you, this thesis is due next week. I need to finish it." She rolls her eyes with a drama that could win an award. Always with the excuses. "Just admit it. You're using this thesis as an excuse to stay up all night, probably chatting with boys online." Before I can retort, my dad appears, looking groggy. "What's all the commotion?" he asks, rubbing his eyes. Karen immediately flips on her crocodile tears. "John, I'm just so worried about Olivia. She's up all night on that computer. It's unhealthy." Dad's face softens with concern. "Honey, maybe you should get some rest." "Dad, please," I plead. "This is really important. I'm so close to finishing." With a reluctant nod, he tells me to take it easy and heads back to bed. Karen shoots me a glare that could curdle milk, but I shake it off and get back to work. The next day, I'm a zombie at the startup. My boss pulls me aside, noticing my state. "Rough night, Olivia?" I nod, stifling a yawn. "Yeah, thesis crunch time." He chuckles sympathetically. "Been there. Why don't you take the afternoon off and get some rest?" Grateful, I head home early, only to find Karen snooping through my things. "What are you doing in my room?" I demand. She jumps, feigning innocence. "Oh, Olivia, didn't expect you home so early. Got fired from your little job?" Gritting my teeth, I say no, my boss gave me the afternoon off to rest. She sniffs, unimpressed. "How convenient. Well, don't let me stop you from your precious rest." Although a little hard work never hurt anyone. I collapse onto my bed, frustration boiling inside me. Later, my phone buzzes. It's Tasha, my best friend. "Girl, where are you?" "We're supposed to meet for coffee." "Rain check." I text back, sighing. Karen drama again. She replies, "Need me to accidentally spill coffee on her?" I chuckle. Tempting, but I'll pass. I need my energy for the thesis battle. As I hang up, I hear Karen's shrill voice calling my dad, ready for another night of her trying to turn him against me. I bury my head under my pillow, wondering how I'll survive until graduation. But I'm Olivia Parker. I've come too far to let her derail my dreams. Bring it on, step monster. The next morning, I wake up, heart racing. Today is thesis submission day. I reach for my laptop only to feel nothing but air. Panic surges as I tear through my room. Where is it? I race downstairs, nearly colliding with my dad. Dad, my laptop's gone. He frowns. Let's not panic, we'll find it. We search the entire house, and Karen finally saunters in, looking annoyingly calm. What's all the fuss? She asks, her tone dripping with feigned innocence. Olivia's laptop is missing, Dad explains. Karen's eyes widen with mock concern. Oh dear. Are you sure you didn't misplace it, sweetie? You have been so stressed lately. I grit my teeth. I know exactly where I left it. Dad checks his watch. I'm sorry, Liv, but I have to run. We'll keep looking later, okay? As he leaves, Karen lounges on the couch, scrolling on her phone. Don't you have a thesis to submit? Clock's ticking. I want to scream, but instead, I email my professor, explaining the situation. Hours pass, and then my phone rings. Miss Parker, says the university admin's voice on the line. We received a call from your stepmother. She claims you're using a missing laptop as an excuse for not completing your thesis and that you're too lazy to finish. What? That's not true, I stammer, my blood boiling. We'll need to discuss this further, the voice says before hanging up, leaving me in shock. I storm into the living room where Karen sits, smirking. You called the university? How could you? She blinks, pretending innocence. I'm sure I don't know what you're talking about. Cut the crap, Karen. Why are you doing this? She finally drops the act, her eyes flashing. You think you're so smart with your fancy degree and your startup job? Well, guess what? Sometimes life isn't fair. You won't get away with this, I say, seething. She laughs coldly. Good luck. It's your word against mine. Who do you think they'll believe? As she walks away, I grab my phone and dial Tasha. Tash, I need your help. It's time to take Karen down. Later, Tasha, my friend Mike, and I huddle in my room, plotting our sting operation. So let me get this straight, Mike says, setting up a tiny hidden camera. Karen hid your laptop and called the university to frame you for not finishing your thesis. Exactly, I say. And now, I'm facing academic dishonesty charges. Tasha, flipping through her law books, pipes up. And hidden cameras are legal in common areas of our own home, right? Should be fine, Mike replies. We spent the next hour setting up cameras in strategic spots around the house. As we finish, I heard the sound of Karen's car pulling up. Quick, act natural, I hissed, and we scrambled to look busy just as Karen walked in. Her eyes narrowed suspiciously. Well, isn't this cozy? I didn't realize we were hosting a study group, she sneered. I forced a smile. Just getting some help with my thesis. You know, the one you think I'm too lazy to finish. Karen's lips tightened. Watch your tone, young lady. I'm only looking out for your best interests. She left the room, and Tasha leaned over, whispering, Dan, she's good. Almost believed her myself. Over the next few weeks, we gathered evidence. Karen's snide comments, her accidental deletion of important emails, even her attempt to impersonate me on the phone to cancel my internship. It was all caught on camera. One evening, I overheard Karen on the phone in the kitchen, her tone dripping with disdain. Yes, I'm telling you, she's a complete nightmare. Always causing drama, always the victim. John's too blind to see it, but I'm at my wit's end, she said. I felt a presence behind me. Turning, I saw my dad, his face a mix of confusion and hurt. Liv, what's going on? He asked. Taking a deep breath, I replied, Dad, there's something I need to show you. We went to my room, and I played the footage we collected. Dad watched in stunned silence as Karen's true nature was revealed. I can't believe this, he murmured. How could I have been so blind? It's not your fault, Dad. She had us all fooled, I reassured him. He pulled me into a hug. I'm so sorry, kiddo. I should have believed you. Just then, my phone buzzed. It was Tasha. Liv, you won't believe what I found. Karen's got a history of this behavior, statements from ex-colleagues, even former stepkids. We've got her. I looked at Dad, a wave of determination washing over me. It's time to end this, once and for all. I stood before the university board, my heart pounding but my resolve unshaken. The room was silent as I presented our evidence. Videos, emails, phone records, all proving Karen's deception. As you can see, I concluded, my stepmother has engaged in a deliberate campaign to sabotage my academic career. I hope this clears any doubts about my integrity." The board members exchanged glances and the dean cleared his throat. "Miss Parker, we owe you a profound apology. Rest assured, we will be investigating this matter thoroughly. You'll have an extension for your thesis submission, of course." Relief washed over me, but I knew this was just the beginning. Back at home, I found Dad confronting Karen. "How could you do this to my daughter? To our family?" His voice was cold. Karen's face twisted with indignation. "John, surely you don't believe these ridiculous accusations." I stepped forward, phone in hand. "It's all here, Karen. Every lie, every scheme. Game over." Her facade crumbled. "You ungrateful little brat. After everything I've done for this family?" "Pack your things and get out," Dad said firmly. "My lawyer will be in touch about the divorce." Karen stormed out, hurling insults as she left, but I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. The fallout was swift. Karen's reputation in the community crumbled, and she lost her job when her boss learned of her unethical behavior. Former victims came forward, revealing a pattern of manipulation in her past. Meanwhile, I threw myself into finishing my thesis, and the day I submitted it felt like a victory, not just for me, but for everyone who'd ever been doubted or undermined. Graduation day arrived, and as I accepted my diploma, I spotted Dad in the crowd, beaming with pride. Next to him were Mike and Tasha, cheering loudly. Later at the celebration dinner, Dad raised a toast. "To Olivia, who taught me the true meaning of strength and perseverance." I couldn't be prouder. I blinked back tears. "Thanks, Dad. I couldn't have done it without you guys." As we talked about my new job offer and plans to move out, my phone buzzed. It was Karen. "Olivia, please, can we talk? I want to make amends." I stared at the message, then decisively pressed block. "Everything okay?" Mike asked, noticing my expression. I smiled, looking around at the people who truly cared about me. "Yeah," I said, feeling lighter than I had in ages. "Everything's perfect." As I drifted off that night, I felt a peace I hadn't known in years. The road ahead felt bright, full of promise, and for the first time in a long time, I was excited to see where it would lead. Karen and her toxicity were behind me. My future was mine. What a journey, right? Now that you've heard my story, I have a question that's been bugging me. If you were in my shoes, would you ever forgive Karen? She tried to sabotage my career, tear apart my family, and even compromise my future. Forgiveness, people say, is often more for the person doing the forgiving. It's supposed to bring you peace, help you let go of resentment, and open a path to moving forward. But is there a point where someone's actions cross a line into the unforgivable zone? Karen's behavior wasn't just about being petty, it was toxic on another level. Yet she's human, right? Maybe she has her own unresolved issues or insecurities that fuel her actions. But is understanding someone's reasons for their behavior enough to forgive? Or is it okay to choose not to forgive and move forward by cutting ties? So, what do you think? Is there ever a point where cutting someone out completely is better than forgiving them? Or should we always strive to forgive, even if we don't forget? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hey everyone, I'm Linda. I'm 28, and I run a tech company in San Francisco. Sounds pretty amazing, right? But let me tell you, the road to get here was anything but smooth. It all started when I was 15. My world was turned upside down when my parents split up. My dad, Robert, was this brilliant software engineer who built his own company from scratch, pouring everything he had into it. My mom, Melissa, felt left out. Next thing I knew, she was having an affair with my math teacher, Frank. Imagine the awkward parent-teacher conferences after that. One night, Dad broke the news to me, his voice cracking. "Linda, your mother and I are getting a divorce." I was stunned. "But why? What about us? What about the family?" He sighed, running a hand through his graying hair. "Sometimes, honey, people change. Your mother, she's chosen a different path." The divorce was ugly. Mom left with Frank, and just like that, she was gone. No goodbye, no explanation. Just poof. "We'll make it work, kiddo," Dad told me, forcing a smile. "You and me against the world." And we did. He threw himself into teaching me everything about the business, having me sit in on meetings, learning the ropes. "Pay attention, Liv," he'd say. "One day, all this will be yours." I didn't know how soon that day would come. When I was 24, Dad got sick. Cancer. It hit hard and fast. From his hospital bed, he whispered, "Promise me you'll take care of the company. It's your legacy now." I held his hand, tears streaming down my face. "I promise, Dad. I'll make you proud." And just like that, he was gone. At 24, I found myself running a multi-million-dollar tech company. Talk about being thrown into the deep end. But you know what? I swam. In the past 4 years, I've nearly doubled the company's value. Dad would be proud. At least I hope he would. As for Mom, I haven't heard from her in years. She has a new family now with Frank, twins named Michael and Emma. They're 10. I think though we've never met. Maybe that sounds harsh, but after what she did, can you blame me? "Miss Reeves, your 2 o'clock is here." My assistant's voice crackles over the intercom, snapping me back to the present. "Thanks, Sarah. I'll be right there," I reply, straightening my blazer. I take a deep breath, pushing away the memories. This is my life now. CEO of Reeves Tech, carrying on my father's legacy. It's not always easy, but I wouldn't have it any other way. As I head to the meeting, I catch a glimpse of myself in the mirror. I see Dad's determination in my eyes, his strength in my stance. I've come a long way from that heartbroken 15-year-old girl, ready to change the world. I ask my reflection, a small smile playing on my lips. Yeah, I think I am. Watch out, world. Linda Reeves is just getting started. Later that day, I'm at my desk, sipping my morning coffee when my phone pings. I nearly choke when I see the sender, Melissa Tanner, my estranged mother. What could she possibly want after all these years? My hand shakes as I open the email. The words blur, but their meaning is clear. Melissa and Frank are dying. 6 months to live, and they want me to split Dad's company with their kids. You've got to be kidding me, I mutter, slamming my mug down. My assistant, Sarah, pokes her head in. "Everything okay, Miss Reeves?" I shake my head. "No, not really. Can you get Mike from legal up here?" 20 minutes later, Mike's reading the email, his brow furrowed. "What do you think?" I ask, pacing. "Legally, they don't have a leg to stand on. The company's yours, fair and square," he says. I run a hand through my hair, but morally, they're dying, Mike. And those kids, they're innocent in all this. He nods, but reminds me, "Remember what your mother did. The affair, abandoning you and your dad. Are you sure this isn't just another ploy?" His words spark something in me. He's right. I need to be sure. I grab my phone and dial a number I haven't used in years. "Michael, it's Linda Reeves. I've got a job for you." Michael, my go-to private investigator. If anyone can get to the bottom of this, it's him. 3 days later, I'm blindsided again. Michael's report confirms it. Melissa and Frank are terminally ill. I'm lost in thought when Sarah bursts in. "Miss Reeves, there's a situation downstairs. The employees, they heard about the email." My heart sinks. How? I don't know, but they're worried, talking about job security, the future of the company. I take a deep breath. Okay, call an emergency meeting. All department heads now. An hour later, I'm facing a room full of anxious faces. "I know you've all heard rumors," I begin. "Yes, my mother has made a request regarding the company, but I want to assure you, nothing's changing. This company, your jobs, they're safe." Tom from marketing raises his hand. "But if you split the company, that's not happening." I cut him off firmly. "This company was my father's life's work. It's my legacy. I won't let anyone threaten that." The room relaxes, but I can still feel the tension. Later that night, alone in my office, I stare at a photo of Dad and me. "What would you do, Dad?" I whisper. My phone rings, jolting me out of my thoughts. It's an unknown number. "Hello?" "Linda, it's Melissa." My blood runs cold. "How did you get this number?" "Please don't hang up. I know you got my email. We need to talk." "We have nothing to talk about." "Linda, please, I'm dying. This might be our last chance." "Our last chance," I repeat, my voice ice cold. "You gave up any chance when you walked out on us." "Goodbye, Melissa." I hang up, my hands shaking. My eyes drift to the photo of Dad and me on my desk. "I won't let them take what's ours, Dad. I promise." But I can't shake the feeling that something isn't right. Melissa's sudden reappearance, the convenient terminal illness, the demand for half of Dad's company, it's all too neat, too convenient. I pick up my phone again and dial Michael, my private investigator. I need you to dig deeper, way deeper. Go back to before the divorce. I want to know everything. A week later, I'm sitting in my office, staring at the files Michael sent over. My hands shake as I open the first one. No, this can't be right. But it is. Financial records, encrypted emails, everything lays out a trail of deceit that makes me sick. I press the intercom button. Sarah, get Mike up here. Now. When Mike arrives, I'm pacing the office like a caged animal. What's going on, Linda? You look like you've seen a ghost. I laugh bitterly. Worse, I've seen the truth. I shove the files at him. His eyes widen as he reads. Holy, is this for real? Frank was embezzling, and your mother, she knew. I nod, clenching my jaw. Not just knew, she helped. They were planning to push Dad out and take over the company. Mike whistles under his breath. This changes everything. Their claim on the company, it's not just baseless, it's fraudulent. I need to confront them, I say, reaching for my phone. But Mike grabs my arm. Whoa, slow down. We need to be smart about this. If we play our cards right, we can shut them down for good. I take a deep breath, trying to calm the rage boiling inside me. You're right. What do you suggest? We spend the next few hours plotting, and by the end, I feel a glimmer of hope for the first time since this mess started. The next day, I call Melissa. Linda, I'm so glad you called. Have you thought about our request? I force myself to keep my voice steady. I have. In fact, I'd like to meet to discuss the terms. There's a triumphant note in her voice that makes me sick. That's wonderful, darling. When and where? Tomorrow, my office. Bring Frank and the kids. After hanging up, I call Michael. I need you here tomorrow. Bring everything you've got. The next day, I stand at my office window as they arrive. Melissa, Frank, and 2 kids I assume are Michael and Emma, my half-siblings. The thought leaves a bitter taste in my mouth. Linda, darling, Melissa coos as she enters. It's been too long. I fix her with a cold stare. Not long enough, apparently. Frank steps forward, putting on a mask of concern. Linda, I know this is difficult, but we're family. Family? I spit out the word. Is that what you call it when you steal from your family? When you plot to ruin them? The color drains from their faces. Melissa recovers first. I don't know what you're talking about. We're here about the future, not the past. I give her a humorless smile. Up with the past is very relevant, especially when it involves fraud, embezzlement, and conspiracy. I nod to Sarah, who opens the door. Michael walks in, carrying a thick file. What's going on? Frank demands, his face paling. Who's this? This, I say, is the beginning of the end for your little scheme. Did you really think I'd just hand over half of Dad's company? The company you tried to steal. Melissa opens her mouth to speak, but I cut her off. Save it. I have all the proof I need. Now let's talk about how this is really going to go down. I gesture to the conference table. Please, take a seat. Melissa and Frank exchange nervous glances before sitting down. They look around, noticing for the first time the unexpected crowd that has gathered. Linda, who are all these people? Melissa hisses, her voice wavering. I smile coolly. Oh, just some interested parties. You wanted to discuss the company's future, right? Well, these folks have a stake in that too. I nod to Sarah, who starts the presentation. As damning evidence flashes across the screen, I watch the color drain from Frank and Melissa's faces. I address the room, my voice steady. As you can see, we have clear evidence of embezzlement and conspiracy dating back years. A representative from the SEC leans forward, eyes locked on Melissa and Frank. Miss Reeves, he says gravely, this is very serious. We'll need to launch a full investigation immediately, the SEC representative declares. Frank jumps up, face flushed with anger. Now, wait just a minute. You can't. Sit down, Mr. Walker. I cut him off, voice steady. We're just getting started. I continue revealing the entire sordid plan, how they plotted to push my father out, the affair, every betrayal. With each revelation, Melissa and Frank sink further into their seats. Linda, please, Melissa pleads, her voice wavering. We can explain. Save it, I snap, my tone unyielding. I'm not finished. I turn to the twins, Michael and Emma, who look stunned. I'm sorry you got dragged into this, but there's something else you need to know. I slide a DNA test across the table. Frank isn't your biological father. The room erupts in chaos. Frank lunges toward Melissa, fury blazing in his eyes, while board members shout in disbelief. The SEC rep steps aside, already dialing his phone. I slam my hand on the table. Enough. The room falls silent. Here's what's going to happen, I say, my voice cold and resolute. The SEC will conduct a full investigation. Your assets will be frozen. And you, I fix my gaze on Melissa and Frank, will face the consequences of your actions. The board chairman stands, his voice filled with emotion. Miss Reeves, I speak for all of us when I say you have our full support. Your father would be proud. As security escorts Melissa and Frank out of the building, I feel an immense weight lift from my shoulders. It's over. But as I watch them go, my thoughts drift to Michael and Emma, who look lost, caught in the crossfire of their parents' mistakes. A month later, I'm sitting at my desk, signing papers for the Robert Reeves Foundation, a new charity dedicated to supporting children affected by divorce. Are you sure about this, Linda? Mike asks, watching me closely. You don't owe them anything. I pause, thinking of Dad. It's not about owing, I reply, a soft smile tugging at my lips. It's about healing, and maybe helping prevent others from going through what I did. That evening, as I leave the office, I feel lighter than I have in years. Dad's company is thriving, justice has been served, and I'm turning my pain into something positive. I look up at the night sky, feeling Dad's presence. We did it, Dad, I whisper. Your legacy is secure, and I'm finally free. I climb into my car, ready for whatever comes next. The past no longer haunts me, and the future, it's looking brighter than ever. Discussion prompt. If you were in Linda's shoes, would you offer any financial support to Michael and Emma, knowing they were innocent victims of their parents' actions? Or would you maintain firm boundaries, considering everything she's been through? This is a complex moral dilemma. On one hand, the twins are innocent and didn't choose their circumstances. On the other, Linda has no obligation to them and has already suffered because of their parents' actions. What would you do in this situation? Would you extend help or stand firm? Share your thoughts below.